Okay, so this is section 8.4, inscribed angles. So first we're going to do a review of chords and arcs. So number one, if our two chords are congruent, then that means the two arcs are congruent. So we have our equation 3x minus 17 equal to 118. Now that we have a two-step equation, we just got to solve for x. So add 17 on both sides. We get 3x equals 118 plus 17. So we get 135 divided by 3 on both sides. And we get x is 45. Okay, number 2, we have two congruent arcs. So that means we have two congruent chords. So same thing, let's just write our equation. So we get 3x minus 35 equals 21 minus 4x. So just solve for x. So we're going to add 4x on both sides. So we get 7x minus 35 equals 21. Add 35 to both sides. We get 7x equals 56. Last step is just dividing by 7. We get x equals 8. Okay, number 3. So we know that we have some perpendicular segments here and that these chords are both equidistant from the center, which means our chords are congruent, which also means these arcs are congruent. So our equation is 8x equals 2x plus 54. And then just solve like normal, so subtract 2x on both sides. You get 6x equals 54. Divide by 6. You get x equal to 9. Okay. Final review problem. Hopefully you guys are like, these are so easy. Well, they should be easy to review. Again, we have we have some perpendicular segments. That's what that right angle is for. We know that they're equidistant from the center. So these two chords are congruent. So 5x minus 34 equals x plus 18. So subtract x from both sides. So 4x minus 34 equals 18. Add 34 to both sides. So we get 4x equals 52. Divide by 4. We get x equals 13. Okay, so that was just a little quick review. Now we are on to our notes. So inscribed angles. Inscribed angle is an angle with its vertex on the center of the circle with two sides that are chords. So B is our vertex, AB and CD are our chords. The intercepted arc is the arc that lies between the endpoints of the inscribed circle. So our intercepted arc would be AC. The degree of the inscribed arc is equal to half the measure of the intercepted arc. So our angle right here is equal to half of the degree of AC. Or another way you can write it is that our arc measure is equal to 2 of the angle measures. Okay, intercepting diameters. So if an inscribed angle intercepts a diameter, so here's my inscribed angle, and then here is that diameter. So CB is a diameter. Then we know that we have a right angle. So angle BAC is 90 degrees. And that kind of makes sense because it follows our rule, right? If this is a diameter, that means that this BC is 180 degrees. Half of 180 it means that this angle would be 90. So that's just still following that same rule from up here. Overlapping arcs. So if two inscribed angles, so we have one angle ABD and another angle ACD, if they have the same arc, so they both have this shared arc AD, that means the angles are equal. So our two angles right here, they're equal, they're congruent. Okay, so let's try a couple examples. So in number 1, we know that our arc is 62. We want the measure of angle WXY. Just do 62 divided by 2. So 62 divided by 2, our angle is 31 degrees. So in here is 31 degrees, just half. Number 2, so we know that our angle is 113, but we want the arc measure, DGF. So we do 113 degrees times 2. That's going to give us that measure. So 113 times 2. That means that this degree of this arc is 226 degrees. Number 3. So in this, we have no measures given, but we do know that PR is your diameter. So we're using that property. That means that angle PQR is 90 degrees. So diameter means that this is 90. If you forget, you should also know that right here we have a semicircle. So this is 180. 180 divided by 2. That still gets you 90. So if you forget the property about the diameter, meaning that angle is 90, you could always just use the rule from above, where you just do your arc divided by 2. Number 4, we want to solve for x. So we need to find this arc measure because we know that property. Well, we can find it because we know this is 92, this is 162. So we can do 360 minus 162 minus 92, and that will get us that arc for AC, that degree for that arc. So AC is 106 degrees. Now remember our property. We have 106 divided by 2. That's equal to our angle 7x minus 10. So 53 is equal to 7x minus 10. Add 10 to both sides. 63 equals 7x. Move this up a bit. Divide by 7 on both sides. And we get x is equal to 9. Okay. Number 5. If the measure of f, the measure of angle FGH is 6x plus 21, and our arc measure is 17x minus 28, we need to write an equation to find x, and then in the end, we need to find the measure of our arc FJH, sorry. So remember our relationship. We know that the angle is that double the angle is equal to our arc. Whenever we have a 2 on the outside, remember we are going to distribute. So distribute your 2. So we get 12x plus 42 equals 17x minus 28. Then we can just solve for x. So subtract 12x from both sides, we get 5x. Bring everything else down. Add 28 on both sides. So 42 plus 28, we get 70 equals 5x divide by 5. We get x is equal to 14. But we're not done. Remember, we need to find our arc measure. So now I'm just going to plug 14 in. So 17 times 14 minus 28. 17 times 14 is 238 minus 28. Our arc measure is 210 degrees. Okay, so our last little bit of notes, we have inscribed quadrilaterals. Remember, quadrilateral is any four-sided figure. So if it's inscribed inside of a circle, that means that all of these points are on our circle. Then the opposite angles are supplementary. So A and C are opposite from each other, so they're going to add to 180. And B and D are opposite angles from each other, so they're also going to add to 180 degrees. So in number 6, J and L are opposite angles. So to find J, you do 180 minus L, which is 92. So 180 minus 92 means that J is 88 degrees. K and M are opposite angles. So to find K, we do 180 minus M, which is 45. So 180 minus 45, we get 135 degrees. Number 7, right away we know we have Q is given to us, and Q and S are opposite angles. So we can find S, that's 180 minus 93. So angle S is 87 degrees. Now here we need to find P and R. Well, we are given some things we know. And right now we know that R, remember the angle R, we have this inscribed angle, QRS. So QRS is equal to half of the arc that's across from it. So QPS is 126 plus 90. So this whole thing is 216. So to find R, that's 216 divided by 2. And that's going to get you R. So that's 108. So in our picture, we know that this is 108. And then, last step, we know that P and R are opposite angles. So to find P, we can do 180 minus 108. So 180 minus 108, we get P is 72 degrees. Okay, and that is the end of 8.4 notes.